Hi, Rachel. You're muted.
Yeah, at this new computer, learning, it looks so much like my computer, but it's not.
Oh dear.
Have you picked up your new equipment?
No, not yet. I'm not sure what I really need yet. And so I've had really fun. My email died almost a week ago.
Oh,
And so they're trying to fix that. And Graham wants to update my email. And it's getting apparently difficult. They're blaming the vendor that controls our email service for being unable to connect commissioners who have not upgraded to a Microsoft 365, which I don't know what it is, but it sounds impressive.
well,
So-
I've got it. And I now use Macintosh computers myself, and I've worked on Windows computers for ages.
Mm-hmm.
And I will just say that 365 sounds impressive.
Is it?
It's not.
It's not. Okay.
It's just, it's
It's an upgrade that's really a downgrade.
Well, from my standpoint, it means I have multiple devices, because I would use my own computer to log into commission meetings, which I suppose is a problem, from a security standpoint.
Well,
So
anybody who wants to follow me around is welcome to do so. That's, of course, the Gary Hart challenge.
yeah, right.
Well, follow me around. You'll be
Follow me
bored.
around, right. Yeah.
So we're still working on it, but I'm surprised they haven't been able to fix the email in
Yeah.
almost a week. Apparently they've got problems. So
Mm.
anyway, Lisa has been very nice in forwarding all the stuff I need to know that her office originates, which includes the midweek message,
Oh,
and
nice.
the staff and commissioner briefing, and of course the packet and the agenda. So I'm functional, but it's good to be functional, isn't it?
Yeah. Better than not. Better than
Right.
not. Hi, Tom.
Hello. They
Hey,
actually got mine functioning this afternoon.
Hey,
Ah.
congratulations.
What does anybody have any idea what the problem was
Well,
or is?
according to the powers that be, the problem with commissioner emails is that some commissioners have not upgraded to Microsoft 365. And the method necessary to connect the commissioners who have not upgraded is hard. And so they're blaming the vendor. Anyway, I stopped looking about 2 o'clock this afternoon. So if you're connected, Tom, probably I am also, but I haven't checked. I gave up. Anyway, we're here now. Yay.
Guess who's here from far away?
Oh,
Deborah.
So
Hi
Chair
there.
Doyle is able to dial in from Ireland. Wow.
Belfast.
8 hours. I think that would be 2 a.m. or something.
Oh,
No, the time changed, so it's only 1 o'clock here.
Oh,
uh-huh.
So I will be used to the time change before y'all are.
Ah, and it's your birthday. Happy birthday.
Hey,
Thank
happy
you.
Hey,
birthday.
happy birthday.
Thank you.
How do you say that in Irish?
No idea. That's
Well, I hope you had a
N-O.
great day. Yeah.
So we'll have to have a 1-hour meeting, yes?
Well, I've already been to the theater tonight, so how can this,
Wow.
we can only get better.
What did you see?
I saw a new musical and it was called Propaganda, the new musical. It's very interesting. Kind of a Sondheim sound and it was about 1949 in Berlin.
Mm.
Oh, wow.
Right. And so Russians and Irish, and there was an American in it also. It was, and the performances were amazingly good. Really, really, really good. All right, let's see. I'm on my personal computer, so I am going to be even less able to see how many people are in the meeting. So, Lisa, can you tell me if
I
all the
have
commissioners
7.
are here? You got 7? All right. Then we can certainly start. Let's give people a minute. How about that? Just a minute. But we've had good weather, some rain. It's good.
Frost
It wouldn't be
advisory
Ireland
tonight.
without rain.
Oh, really? I'm so
Yep.
sorry.
How was the castle?
There are many castles.
Thought you went to Craig
Europe
Fergus
is full of
Castle.
castles like there's something special.
She
That's
went
right.
to Craig Fergus Castle today. I saw on Facebook.
Carrickfergus is right outside of Belfast, and we actually did not go in because it was raining so hard that we would have all washed down the lock into the into the levee. So anyway, it's 6:01, and I believe we're all here.
Yes, Chair Doyle, it's Lisa, and everyone's present except Fred will not be joining us tonight.
Okay. Okay, then I will welcome everybody, and I will call the roll. Commissioner Cahill,
Here,
Commissioner Elkind,
Here.
Commissioner Engbarth is not here with us tonight. Commissioner Heavenridge,
Here.
Mr. Hauser,
Here,
Commissioner Lagos,
Here.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Here.
and Commissioner Parker.
Here.
Excellent. All right. Pursuant to California Code Section 54953, all the votes are going to be taken by roll call. So I'll make sure I don't lose that list. Do we have any public comment? I'm not seeing any hands waved, but again, someone's going to have to call out because I'm not going to be able to see it, I don't think.
There were,
Okay.
Chair Doyle, there were no written comments submitted for this meeting, and I do not see any members of the public in attendance.
Super. I will continue to ask just because they may stop by a little later. Okay. Action items by resolution. We again need to establish the need to hold teleconference meetings due to the proclaimed state of emergency. And so can I have a motion to approve that?
I'll move it.
Thanks, David. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. And again, any comments after that? If not, I'm going to call the roll. Commissioner Cahill's a yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Elkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Heavenridge,
Yes.
Commissioner Hauser,
Yes,
Commissioner Lagos,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Commissioner Parker,
Yes.
and I'll make it unanimous. And now we move into library reports.
Hello, everyone. Hope you're all well. We are now starting with our new format. So this is our September report. This is information that you have not seen before. September was a pretty big month. We had our MOU that we finalized with the Library Foundation. We also had our staff day at the end of the month that I know several of you attended, including Chair Doyle and Commissioner McKenzie and Commissioner Engbarth. And we're hopeful that next year our staff day will be able to be in person again. We're looking forward to that. We tried to do it this year, but it just, it didn't seem feasible, but we're going to try to definitely make an effort to get it all in person, because that in-person component, especially with the in-branch activities, is really important. And it's just great to see people that you don't regularly see and don't normally see. It turns out some staff from HQ know some of my former peers at LEPL, so that was really nice to hear how they were doing. That's always those, those moments are always nice. The other big news is that the History and Genealogy Library got their copycat grant from the State Library. That's about $20,000 for their memory lab. And that is going to be a project that they will take on the road. They will take to the branches, purchasing computers and digitization equipment so that people can bring in their family memories and family histories, including photographs and other media, and have it digitized to protect it and preserve it. So that's going to be kicking off soon. Then obviously our big news is Sunday hours start on Sunday. We are going to be doing, I know at least 2 branches are doing special celebrations, Rohnert Park and Sonoma Valley, other branches as well. I will be visiting Rohnert Park and Sonoma Valley on Sunday, so you'll see me there. We're also going to be sending flowers to all of the branches. And we have a plan for other management team members to visit, if not this Sunday, at least throughout the rest of the month, so that every Sunday we will have someone from the management team going to a branch on Sunday and just letting the staff know how grateful we are for their support and letting them know that we're here for them. Are there any questions?
I wasn't sure that you were done. Do we have any questions on the library reports?
It looks like Commissioner McKenzie has a question.
Commissioner McKenzie.
Sorry, I'm still learning my new laptop commands and where to find them. Just a quick question on page 13, under capital improvement projects, Petaluma finalizing an MOU with Petaluma. Is that just for the project construction?
Yes, it is. For the renovation.
Okay. And I earlier sent an inquiry to Mike Daw and Dave Tacheva about those project grants from the state, or the funding for the state for renovations and so forth. So I'm interested in getting an update about what other branches might apply for those monies and how to go about doing it. So I just, for the record, but anyway, I'm in touch with, I copied you in the email about it, but I'm curious about how much other money might be available. Sounds like a lot of grant funding is around now.
Well, I know that Sebastopol was the other library that applied. And I know that in both cases, we did help those cities with their application by providing them with data and some information to help them in their application. I do believe that Dave notified all of the JPA partner cities of this opportunity. But since he's not available, I can't confirm that, but I believe he did reach out to every partner city and let them know. about this. Any other questions?
I will step in to say that there is a move in a federal move to create some additional library funding, some library construction funding, and it certainly isn't. It still is in the beginning stages, but when that comes closer to when we want people to talk to their politicians, their representatives, and their senators, we will certainly let you know. But right now it's just kind of at the nebulous stage, and I think it's only for something like $20 million or something like that. It's not a huge amount. I could be wrong about the number, but we'll keep you informed about that as well. Any other comments? Okay, let's see. And I'm bouncing between my agenda and the information. Oh, publicity is next, I believe. Any questions about publicity? Any for September? Okay. And then library news. Any comments about the library news? Okay, then we will move on to, and if there is no public comment, we will move on to budget and finance reports. Myrna, do you want to?
Sure, I'll
do you
give
wanna
you
take it?
a snapshot of the first quarter report ending September 30th, 2022. And this is the first time you see a new format, although we're still receiving feedback from the finance committee at what format is the best to convey information. The statement of activity in particular is still a work in progress, as the use of committed funds could be reported in a more streamlined fashion. And I'm working with the county accounting services team to present a revised format in November. So in general, the library shows an excess of expenditures over revenue in the total of $7.9 million through the first quarter. And there are several factors for that. The summary statement shows impact on the fund balance. And so when the commission approved of the budget, it did approve the use of fund balance. So that is why one reason for expenditures exceeding revenues. The other is it's our regular revenue cycle, and the July sales receipts, for example, are posted in September, and the property tax, we will start seeing our first installment in December. So it is our normal revenue and expenditure cycle at this time. For revenues, the sales tax did post at $1.28 million for the month of July. And under the property tax, one major change there is that the $500,000 that were received from the state library for the new regional Roseland branch was temporarily deposited under property tax while we created a new fund for this capital fund for the new Roseland branch, and it is now transferred out of property tax into the new fund so that we can track expenditures under this new fund specifically for the new branch. And so there is a corresponding drop in property tax. So that is expected. Under expenditures through September, our expenditures at 9.3 million, which is almost 19% of the total budget expenditures. And as you know, we're at a quarter of our expenditures. Mainly, this is due to our capital projects that have not kicked off yet. And the director did have an update in her report. Other day-to-day expenditures like salaries and benefits. Just a reminder that the library posted $1.4 million towards our unfunded accrued liability in July. But even accounting for that, our salaries is just under 25%, 22%, just under 25% of our salaries budget. It is due to normal attrition and vacant positions, as well as keeping in mind again that Sunday hours kicks off in this Sunday, as Director Thibault mentioned. And but those are the main highlights. We'll continue to monitor benefits in particular regarding salaries and benefits for the mid-year review and throughout the year. Make sure we're on target for that. And under capital, again, we will see an uptick when the refresh projects begin, and for Healdsburg and Petaluma. Cash, we've been drawing down on our cash as our normal cycle continues. And another highlight though is our fund balance. I did make a note in the fund in the report that the statement of activity is where you see fund balance and what is available or not committed and available for the commission's use. So there were in the September statement, there are two major adjustments. One is the commission a rebudget in September, and that increased the budget by $596,000, a little over that. And also there was a correction made to the statement of activity in how the use of the committed funds that were established last fiscal year for capital projects, for IT projects, and maintenance projects in facilities. So with an adjustment made in the September statement of activity, there was a revised fund balance available, increasing property tax fund balance available to 7.8 million and sales tax to 8.1 million. So it is an increase from what was shown in the July and August fund balance statements of activity. Those were the highlights I wanted to present today, and I could take any questions.
Any questions from Mirna? Super, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Now we're going to move into the no public comment. No members of the public appear.
Yes, Chair Doyle, a member of the public did join. Helen Broughton.
At the moment we're taking comments on the budget and finance reports.
I have no comments. Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much. And now we're moving into commissioner and liaison reports. Does anybody have anything to add to their commissioner reports? Seeing none. We will move then into the committee and liaison reports. Andy, do you have anything you'd like to add to your finance committee report?
Thanks, Deborah. Just two comments quickly that I'd like to highlight. First, I would like to give a shout out to Commissioner Barbara McKenzie. It's through her patient and persistent reminder that we need clarity and understanding of the fund balances that we've continued to focus on those. And as Myrna mentioned in her report, she was able to identify some reporting errors that have since been corrected. So really appreciate Barbara's attention to that. And of course, very grateful that Myrna took the time to dive in detail. Our reports are still evolving in that area, but I feel very confident that they'll continue to improve, and that will be a benefit for us on the Finance Committee, as well as the full commission. And also just wanted to note, as we mentioned in the notes, that our accounting manager, Julie Brown, has joined the team, and very, very excited to have her on board. And I know that that's going to be a big benefit for Myrna and the rest of the staff. So that's it. Thank you.
Super. Commissioner Cahill, you have a question, comment?
Yeah, I want a brief follow-up on what Andy said about the evolving financial reports. This is normal. With a large, complex organization, there's always something changing. And I'm impressed with how Myrna is on top of this. So we now have what I consider a very stable financial picture and a sound reporting system.
Thank you. Commissioner Parker.
Yeah, thank you. I was reading the reports and both in the spreadsheet and then in the narrative, there was a brief mention about the PG&E bills. I think it was the months of August and September where they crested the $50,000 requirement for approval. And the comment, I believe it was from Mike Dahl, said that, well, PG&E has raised its rates, and this is, so I'm installing more solar panels. It just seems to me that with our commitment to sustainability as a library system, it might be useful to start looking at solar panel installations for some of the branches. In particular, Rohnert Park has got that parking lot, and you could put solar panels out there and create shade for parking and also collecting energy. I just want to throw that out there as a possible thought for future consideration.
Thanks, Commissioner Parker. Erica, do you have a comment?
Yeah, I believe that that was one of the goals for this fiscal year in our facilities budget: solar panels, electrical vehicle charging stations, and badging all of the workroom areas at all the branches. These are all things that we are hoping to accomplish. The problem with the solar panels is that we do have to have our JPA partners agreement with that. And, as I said, the Sebastopol Library, part of their grant for the Building Forward Together was for HVAC as well as solar panels. So they will probably be the leader in this area. So.
Perfect. Thanks a lot.
Any other comments from the commissioners? Any public comment? Okay. Then Commissioner Hauser, anything to add to your foundation liaison report?
No.
Okay. There's nothing to add to the Historic Records Commission meeting report either.
Chair Doyle.
Sure.
Commissioner McKenzie has her hand raised.
I'm sorry, Commissioner McKenzie. Which one would you like to comment on?
I was back to Commissioner Hauser's report, but just a quick comment on the historical record since we've moved there. It says in there that, actually you reported on the
Mhm.
new, can you hear me?
Yes.
The new, Sonoma/Santa Rosa commissioner. And it's always confusing when we talk about Sonoma as a town and Sonoma as a county, and that's really the county city commissioner. So just a small point about that. But back to Commissioner Hauser's report about the foundation. I was very impressed that they'd gotten $1 million security as a gift to endow a fund for the Guerneville Library. And I was, and also that they established a finance committee. I thought that was super. But is this a new thing where I haven't been aware in the past of the foundation receiving the securities for the libraries. I think in the past it's been the library itself. I'm not opposed to it or in any way, but I'm just curious if there was further discussion about that maybe Commissioner Hauser could pull us in on.
If you want me to elucidate it, the gift was specifically to the foundation, which if the foundation starts functioning as a normal, a foundation to jump to a public entity, it would get all the gifts so that they can invest the money at a better rate than is allowed by governmental entities in California. So that would be a normal procedure. It wasn't something that was known. It was just the donor that did it and created it.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Any other comments? Okay, on the Measure Y Oversight Committee Liaison Report, there isn't a written one because the committee met very shortly before I left, and so I have rough minutes, but I don't have a full meeting report, and the Measure Y Oversight Committee generally likes to make its own reports. They are going to be gathering information and will probably be issuing a report in December, and so we look forward to that. And then our next item is the appointment of Sarah Glade Gurney to the Measure Y Oversight Committee. If Commissioner Engarth is not here, we can go forward with that. Do I have a motion to approve that?
I'll move it.
And I'll second, and I would like to make a comment. Sarah Glade Gurney has been a huge champion of libraries as long as I have been on the commission. And I know it was helpful in both of our campaigns for the sales tax measure. And I think she'd be a tremendous addition to the Measure Y committee. I'm really, really pleased she's willing to serve. And she's, of course, had a very honorable service on the city council there in Sebastopol for many years. So I think she's just a terrific addition. I'm very pleased and thank her for all of her support of our libraries in the past.
She has indeed. Any other comments? Any public comment before I call the vote? All right, I'll call the vote. Commissioner Cahill,
Yes.
Commissioner Elkin,
Yes.
Commissioner Heavenridge,
Yes.
Commissioner Hauser,
Yes.
Commissioner Lagos,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Commissioner Parker,
Yes.
and I will make it unanimous. Wonderful.
Chair Doyle, before you move to the next item,
Mhm.
who was the person who moved the appointment of Sarah Glade Gurney?
I was.
Okay, thank you.
And Barbara seconded.
Yes, got
Yeah.
that. Thank you.
All right. Let's see. I don't believe we have any library advisory board appointments. Any comments from the Foundation Friends advisory boards? Let me know if I'm missing a hand. Okay, moving on to the consent calendar. These matters include routine financial and administrative actions that may be approved by consensus. Any commission member or member of the public may request that an item be removed from the calendar and have it placed with the action items. The commission will approve the minutes of the prior meeting in summary format. Does anybody want one of these items pulled? I am not seeing any hands. All right. Then we're going to be approving the minutes of the October 12th meeting. We're going to be approving the amended total compensation package for the library director, the 2023 library closure schedule, and approve the increased public service hours. May I have a motion?
I move adoption of the consent calendar.
I'll second.
I think that was Commissioner Elkind was the second. All right, any comments? Seeing none, I'll take the roll. Commissioner Cahill,
Yes.
Commissioner Elkind,
Yes.
Commissioner Heavenridge,
Yes.
Commissioner Hauser,
Yes,
Commissioner Logos,
Yes.
sorry, Lagos. Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Commissioner Parker,
Yes.
and I'll make it unanimous. All right, thank you all. Now we move to our action items by motion. We are taking a look at the revised posting policy for outside organizations, and it was formerly titled Policy on Acceptance of Posters, Pamphlets, and Flyers. Erica, do you want to walk us through that, or?
Actually, I'm going to ask Sarah Van Treese.
Okay.
She's the one who is the main author of this policy and worked on it, so she understands it intimately.
Super.
Thank you, Director Tebow, and good evening, Chair Doyle, Library Commissioners. I'm Sarah Van Treese, Public Services Division Manager, and I would also like to acknowledge Barbara Mays, Public Services Division Manager, who contributed to this revision as well. So tonight we're bringing you an item to approve this revision to the posting policy for outside organizations. This is the policy that addresses flyers, pamphlets, and other documents that outside organizations want to post on the library's public bulletin boards or other similar areas. And the policy gives staff and the public clear guidance on what materials can be accepted, as well as the procedure for submitting those items for review. The policy does not apply to library materials, including library endorsed and sponsored materials from our affiliate organizations, such as Friends of the Library groups, and of course, our JPA members. The focus is on those materials from outside groups. So you'll see that reflected very clearly in the proposed name change there. It's not about our own displays or content. It's about those outside organizations. We are also updating the policy into the current policy format. As you probably noticed, the previous policy dates from several decades back, and the majority of the changes that you see, especially all those red line crossouts, have to do with updating the style and the format rather than substantive content changes. The overall goal and purpose of the policy has not changed. The library will continue to accept and post materials from outside organizations. That fits really well with our mission. The revision, though, does clarify some of the requirements for the types and formats of materials that can be accepted. We've added some specific descriptions of some of the elements there to make it easier for library staff to apply the policy equitably and fairly when they're making decisions about what can be posted. And being clear to staff also means that we can be transparent to the public about why a poster would be accepted and posted in the library. You can see all those details in the policy section B, submission requirements. In section C, we've added some information about the submission process, and in section D, we covered acceptance and appeal procedures with a clear timeline. These updates were proposed and reviewed by Public Services leadership and our operations management team. We've had extensive review from our legal counsel, and so we invite you to approve the policy as presented. I'm happy to answer any questions.
do we have any questions? Actually, we should ask if there is a comment from the public first. I don't see any. I don't hear any from Lisa. So I'm going to ask the question of the commissioners. Any questions? Discussion? Barbara?
I'm really pleased about this. Nice to see the update, Sarah. Appreciate your work and Barbara's work on this. And I love have policies and clarity. So I back this 100%. I just wanted to verify in here under posting materials, the item number 5 on page 70. So absent a longer posting time required by law, posting materials shall be removed at the first to occur 30 days obsolete material or space no longer available. So the longest anything from an outside organization can be up is 30 days. Is that correct?
Yeah, that would be correct.
Yeah, all right. Just wanted to make sure that I had that correct because I'm, thank you.
All right, I don't see any other comments.
I'm Hauser here. I have. a
I'm
comment.
sorry. Okay.
I just want to thank you, Sarah. I think this is a well thought out policy, and I'm glad to see the staff is going through rather old files and digging things out and making them more enforceable, realistic, whatever the word is that we should be applying. Thank you for doing that.
Okay, then, do I have a move to approve?
I'll move to approve it.
Thanks. Can I have a
Second.
second?
I'll
It
second.
was- Okay, was that you, Paul?
That was, yes.
Okay, great. No public comments. Okay, then I will call the roll. Commissioner Cahill,
Yes.
Commissioner Elkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Heavenridge,
Yes.
Commissioner Hauser.
Yeah,
There you go. Commissioner Lagos,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Commissioner Parker,
Yes.
and I'll make it unanimous also. That's great. Thank you very much, Sarah. It also would be nice because we're doing policy updates on a regular basis. It would be nice to kind of have an overall view of which policies have been updated, which ones where you're in the process of bringing to us, just so that we see maybe a picture of the larger picture of the various policies that we have in place.
Sure, we can certainly do that. I can ask Jaylene to, we have a policy review bucket, and I can ask her to pull the ones that we need to review. And at the next meeting, I can provide a very short summary of what those are.
Yeah, that'd be great. And perhaps what has been done in the, just a list of the ones that have been done in the last, say, year and a half or something like that.
Okay.
Just so that we know where we are in the role. That's great. Thanks. All right, then. we
Sarah
are-
Lagos has a hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Lagos.
I
That's
just
Lagos.
had a question. Is there a place either on the staff intranet or somewhere where all the policies are located?
Yes, they're under our About Us. So if you go to our website, they are all located there.
Thank you. Still learning the ins and outs.
It's all good, and there are some things probably in the intranet that will be useful, but it's as David said, it's an ongoing iterative process. So we'll make sure that you get up to speed here. All right, then we are moving down to the insurance and financial services policy review. You want to take it away, Suzanne?
Yes. Oops. Good evening, commissioners. Suzanne Silva here, HR manager for the library. And so our insurance renewal is up in November for the general liability, umbrella, property, directors and officers and employment practices and liability coverage. And so it's been reviewing for some reason on a cycle from November to November. And we felt it was best to align it on the fiscal year basis. It just seemed to make more sense. So we went to the carrier or the broker, excuse me, and asked that they would get a quote for that. Our umbrella policy was no problem. They just automatically extended it to July. And then the our EPLI and directors and officers coverage was, we did go out for additional market survey for that. And our current insurance carrier basically did give us a new quote. And so essentially there were some changes. Basically overall the policy, it was annualized, overall decreased by 1%. So the new premium would be $85,840. And essentially there were some questions about the name changes. This is just basically some acquisitions and coverages. We did just describe that here on the next page, that this company was initially Wells Fargo's. They were bought out by USI, and now they've changed to ABD, and basically it's carried by Newfront. So while it sounds like there's been a lot of changes, it's just basically name changes by the organization. But we've been working with the same team essentially since 2000 and 15 years, since before I came to the library. So I feel very comfortable with the team that I'm working with. And I feel very comfortable with the service that we're getting from this firm. So essentially, I think it's really great that we're going to be moving over to the same schedule, because having to come back here in July and then back in November has been very a little bit discombobulating. So that's pretty much it. We just need to sign the policy and continue the process that we've been going through.
Do you have any questions for Sarah about this? Commissioner
Barbara does.
Mackenzie?
Yes.
Thank you. Just briefly, I always kind of bring our attention back to the Friends and the coverage of the Friends under our policies here on page 87. It does list all of the Friends groups, not their offsite storage spaces, which I think that's really clear about that our coverage doesn't cover the offsite storage for the Friends, but it does list all the Friends with package. I wasn't able to find out what package was. Of course, any car coverage, those have to be just obviously the library's cars, and then umbrellas. So I know a lot of the Friends groups have gone out and gotten their separate policy coverages for certain things. And I wondered if you could just kind of refresh us what the Friends groups are covered for, as well as these other, let's see, I guess the Wine Library Associate is a Friends group. What else did I see on here? The adult literacy program.
So let me go to page 87 of the policy here. It's on our page 87, is that correct? Of the agenda item. So essentially it's the property that is on the library's property that they're generally talking about here. So the books and the materials on that property. We've gone through this before, that there are, it's not the Friends themselves. They've been required to carry their own policies that we've gone through. They, I thought we've had this settled, so I wasn't really prepared to discuss it, because generally we're just, the main change here is just really the schedule that we are covering the insurance on. So
We can report on that later.
yeah, I can report on that later.
Why don't we do that?
Yeah.
Why don't we do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be prepared to come back on.
And then we can, I think probably next month, we'll be having a meeting with the presidents of the Friends and the foundation. And so we can get a sense from them about their coverage as well. Commissioner Hauser.
Yes, I have been through this with the Sonoma Friends and the presidents of the Friends, trying to figure it out. And pretty much everybody's agreed that it's nice to have a supplemental insurance policy to cover injury to their people and things like that. And they felt very comfortable with the program as it is. And I can't say that I'm good at insurance and I understand it, that I could even begin to explain it, but I've accepted it and I'm comfortable with it. I'm probably not worth anything though, my comments.
Yeah, I
Thank
mean,
you,
on
Commissioner
page
Hassett.
92, it goes into it a little bit detail about the, the building limits, which is basically, not part of this process, but the personal property, bodily injury, property, and then there's additional. So I can go and I can probably provide more information about what's described on their policy, page 13, this agenda item, page 92. So that's what I can come back and provide a little bit more information on to you.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
That's terrific. Thanks. And I have to say, I appreciate that you are moving this to the fiscal year. I think that it makes it much more tidy. So thank you very much for following up on this, Suzanne.
Sure. No problem. Thank you.
All right. Let's see. And next we're at a discussion.
Are we going to approve the insurance?
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Cahill. Do I have a motion to approve?
I already moved it, actually.
Okay. All right, then
I'll
you're
second.
suggesting, okay, thank you. And I'll call the roll. Commissioner Cahill, you're already yes. Commissioner Elkin,
Yes.
Commissioner Heavenridge,
Yes.
Commissioner Hauser,
Yes.
Commissioner Lagos,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Commissioner Parker,
Yes.
and it's unanimous. All right, then we are going to be moving into the discussion of public meetings in headquarters. As you probably know, Commissioner Newsom is going to he wants people to meet, if they're on a public body, he wants them to meet in public. And so he's going to let the permission to Zoom expire in, I believe it's February, which means then that that certainly there are certain ways that you can get permission to Zoom in, but there are a number of things that you have to do. And so rather than wait until January, some commissioners have expressed an eagerness to get back to a public meeting. But rather than do it at the last minute, I thought it might be a good idea to bring up the discussion right now. So it's going to be inconvenient for those who do not come to the headquarters for a public meeting. So what are your concerns about meeting in public? And what would you like to feel safe when you meet in public?
Well, let me just begin. I personally, I just had a COVID scare several weeks ago. I volunteer for a nonprofit a couple of mornings a week, and one of the senior managers came down with COVID, even though he had been vaxxed and boosted. I always wear a mask when I'm at the office. His mask discipline was not good. So he isolated himself up on the second floor, and we sort of semi-shut the group down. So I was wondering about my status, and I had 2 negative tests, and he had negative tests, and all is good, and he's over it now. But he caught it from a volunteer who caught it from his pastor. So it just goes to show that the virus is still out there. I don't know what winter will bring. I would like to be able to not come to Rohnert Park if I can avoid it. I have a couple of underlying conditions. I am vaxxed and boosted, but what I went through, or what he went through, my manager, shows that doesn't really matter. You can still get it and you can still spread it.
Okay, Commissioner Hauser.
I want to just start off by saying I don't think I would believe that this is actually going to expire until we really get down to the wire, because the governor throws all kinds of things out. And it may or may not stick. If it's politically agreeable, I'm sure he'll go along with it. If it isn't, he won't. So I tend to think putting off the decision until we know what we have to do if we have people that are still concerned about it. And I know that there's a substantial portion of the population who are very concerned about COVID and might be less interested in trying to appear in front of us and make their comments. Thank you.
Commissioner Lagos.
Is there an option to be hybrid, to bring people back in, but still allow an opportunity for Zoom for either public comment or for those who can't attend? I'm asking because my whole house has the flu right now, but I'm able to participate even with 100-degree fever on Zoom. And I think that that is a real viable option so that you don't lose out on participation for cases in which you can have a good rationale for why you can't be there in person. Would that be something that we could consider?
I think certainly that's under discussion. However, that is one of the things that Governor Newsom is probably going to make. We're probably going to revert to some of the regulations that were in place before COVID. So you would have to, and we'll have to get a list so that people know this, but it's going to be more inconvenient for the people who Zoom in than it has been through for the last few years. But we're certainly going to get the information as it comes to us from Sacramento. So I think no one assumed that it was not going to be a hybrid meeting, because it's Director Tebow, do you want to talk before Commissioner Heavenridge makes a comment? Okay, Commissioner Heavenridge.
She knows I might say something.
No, she just might have some
responsive.
additional information that we could use. That's all.
Well, so we're talking about, I want to get the space back. So we have a space back at Central that's not real big, and I'm kind of concerned if it is properly maintained as far as the HVAC and everything for minimizing any COVID or other flu-like symptoms that people might have. And since we're going to be in such an enclosed space, and it is enclosed, before when we're at the Santa Rosa at the Chambers, that was a pretty big space, and we were somewhat separated, where we're going to be close together. And I think it just seems to me that there's going to be more COVID out there. There's already is. And I, like Commissioner Cahill, have some underlying conditions that I really can't expose myself. I would be wearing a mask no matter what, but I would like to have more assurances that the room is. It would be better to be in a bigger space. Number one, it would also, I would like assurances of what's being done to protect and make it. It's almost like we're in a cabin of an airplane in there. I'd like those issues addressed, I think, is what I'm talking about.
Erica?
Okay. So I will ask Jeff to address the hybrid format, the legal aspect, and then I will ask Mike Daw to talk about our technological equipment and how well we can facilitate a hybrid format.
Right. I get the easy part, which is that legally, yes, you can do a hybrid meeting. Effective January 1, there will be some changes to the Brown Act that will allow limited remote participation without going through the formal notice process, but there will be a limited number of times a year that people can use it. It's really intended to address situations such as someone who has the flu or COVID and develop symptoms after the posting of the agenda, so it's too late to put their remote participation location on the agenda. Otherwise, we'll be operating primarily under the general rules once the governor's executive order expires, which he has said will be in, I think, February 23rd. Those rules do allow remote participation. The issue historically has been you have to identify the location on the agenda, and the location has to be available to the public if they want to participate from that location. My experience has been, and I will knock on wood, I don't know that I've ever had a situation where any member of the public has ever wanted to participate from a remote location, but theoretically that could happen. So you'll have kind of a couple of different options beginning in the new year. You could do remote, you could do a hybrid where folks are present or can participate remotely. You would typically need to identify the location on the agenda, except in a limited number. And I don't have the number with me. There's, I'm not going to guess, but there's a limited number of times a year when you'll be able to participate remotely with sort of a last minute decision. And those are really going to be the options that we see going forward.
And I can jump into the technical aspects of it.
Please.
Yes. Honestly, I've never thought the RPHQ room was adequate for a commission meeting with 11 commissioners, and especially in the given circumstance of the world around us now. I think that it's too tight, it's too narrow, too long. Even though the money we've spent to put the AV equipment in, it's not a good room. With that in mind, I've been working on a project to upgrade the technology in the RP Roanoke Park Cotati Regional Branch. It's a nice big room, square, with 12 to 15 foot high ceilings. It has good HVAC in it to circulate the air. The AV equipment will not be as sophisticated as the ones that were set up in the Roanoke Park room, which were set up that way to facilitate it. We're finishing a project right now to put opposing cameras on the front and the back, and wall-mounted microphones that so everybody can hear. There could be some echoing issues, and we will need to work out a seating arrangement so that whether you all are all on your laptops with the screen in front of you, with the screen behind you for the public, or vice versa, but we are in the process of working all of that out. That would be my suggestion moving forward. It's not, RPHQ is a great training room. It is not designed to be a public meeting room. So, thank you. Oh, lastly, we do record and stream all of our meetings onto YouTube through the iCompass portal. So we will continue to videotape all of this. In a hybrid, it is going to be somewhat awkward, as you all know, when you're having a meeting and then someone's behind you talking on a screen. That's the nature of doing a hybrid meeting. It's going to be awkward for somebody. We will do our best as we have before, and I think we do a very good job adapting to it as necessary.
Thanks, Mike. Commissioner Elkind.
Thanks. Mike, I just wanted to follow up with you. I appreciate your sensitivity to the auditory challenges. And I'll just say for myself, meeting on Zoom has been far superior in terms of my ability to actually hear what people are saying. It was tough during the time when we were at the headquarters in Roanoke Park, and it was tough when we were at City Hall in Santa Rosa. So not expecting an answer, but whatever you can do to ameliorate that challenge, I would be very grateful. Thank you.
And Commissioner Cahill.
Yeah, I appreciate Jeff's comments about the hybrid meetings. I remember several years ago, pre-pandemic, for some reason, I couldn't travel or whatever. And so all I had to do was post a notice of the meeting on my front door. And just to go the extra few feet, I posted it on our little free library so that anybody who wanted to could come in. And surprisingly enough, nobody wanted to come in to our house and watch me and the commission on Zoom. So anyway, I'm glad that we're going to have options. And thank you, Jeff.
Commissioner McKenzie.
Yeah, I answered the survey that Lisa sent out saying I was willing to kind of do anything and felt like, you know, it really is our responsibility to meet in public. We have such a, you know, our county-wide commission is very difficult for a lot of people to, it's a lot harder for people than for me who are right here in Runner Park. So I appreciate, you know, there's a lot of concerns out there, which I appreciate. I was persuaded by what Commissioner Hauser said about waiting and seeing. For one thing, by February, we're going to know whether this big wave of COVID that's expected to hit in the winter, you know, how bad things are and so forth. And I guess there's a certain sense to, if we don't have to do it quite yet, you know why. I'm hearing more concern here than I thought others had. And I was also interested that the Roanoke Park Forum Room could be a possible meeting room. It is a nice big space and so forth. And I was over there getting my new laptop and phone the other day with Graham helping me. And it is, the headquarters room is kind of a fishbowl, and it is small and narrow. And I agree. I don't feel great about the circulation in there. So I'm willing to go anyway. I am not a big fan of hybrid meetings in a general sense. I certainly understand when somebody, you know, is sick and they can't get there or whatever, but when you have, you know, half the people at home and then half the people in a meeting room, it really doesn't work very well in my opinion. So I guess bottom line is I kind of would follow Commissioner Hauser's lead and say, let's wait until February and see if maybe it's extended or not.
Mike, you had a response, I think.
I was just going to say, I thought of Barbara when we were working on the room because it is a nice space.
Commissioner Parker.
Hi, thanks. Where do we stand with our lease on the headquarters building and a potential move, and whether that meeting room at headquarters has any ability to be reconfigured to improve the airflow and space requirements?
Well, I think let's ask the question more to, can it be reconfigured rather than the lease, because that certainly is not on the agenda, and I think that would take a lot of commission time, and since it hasn't been noticed, I'm not sure that we can tackle that big a question. But so Mike, in terms of
the room is over at RPHQ has already been reconfigured several times to make it better. It's really the physicality of it, the low ceilings, the length of the room, even without the COVID era in which we live, it's still the audio and visual of how it's recorded is awkward. It's just not shaped well. A nice square room like we have in the Flores room, I believe is what it's called, or in the round room that's at Central, where there's a nice panorama where people can surround it, makes it for a much better, a better room when you have so many people on the dais, so to speak.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks very much. I think we are going to, we can certainly postpone making the final decision, but I think it has to be something that we realize that we're going to have to do something about, and whether it's whether it's making a hybrid meeting more accessible, because I think that we have at least two people who are pretty committed to wanting not to come to a public meeting, and no judgment at all. It's just that we have to I think prepare for it. And so even if the governor doesn't do something in January, I think certainly sometime in 2023, it is going to be our responsibility as a public board to meet publicly, because that's going to be what the demand is. And so I think if we can think in advance and try to straighten some of this stuff out before we actually have to do it, I think that's the wisest thing. So Mike, we're going to lean on you, and Jeff, we're going to lean on you as well, to take a look at. It sounds like Rohnert Park is probably the best option. And we'll watch what the governor does, but I think we're going to have to start having public meetings in some way in the next few months.
Commissioner Hauser has his hand raised.
Commissioner Hauser.
I want to say, I'm really happy, Mike, that you're thinking about this. And my take is that probably meeting at the headquarters is not a good idea, but putting some energy into either Rohnert Park or Central, the rooms there, would be the safest thing to be working on. And I appreciate those kinds of comments. Thank you.
Anybody else? Other comments? Okay. And any public comment on that item? Okay, hearing none. Then we are going to be moving to agenda items for future commission meetings. I will tell you that we're still looking for 2 commissioners, but we didn't meet that long ago. So, and we're trying. So if you have candidates in mind, please make your recommendations. It doesn't have to be here. It can be to me, to Erica, and what else would you like on future agendas?
Chair Doyle, we do have Commissioner McKenzie with her hand raised.
Commissioner McKenzie.
Hi there. Bring up my favorite topic of leases, which I know are being worked on, but as Commissioner Parker brought up, also the issue of the headquarters lease. So an update on that, which I know that you have probably preparing on that. I also wanted to bring up, since we have this nice new policy on posting for outside organizations, that we have a policy or policy committee, or give us some sort of update or discussion on policies for library endorsed materials. According to this new policy, that's the information on programs, services, functions, or other opportunities offered by the library. That would be a library endorsed thing. And so I'm very eager to have a discussion about that. So I guess it's my third item is a policy, looking at a policy on what labs can do. You know, our labs are independent organizations and they have their own bylaws and so forth. I'm interested in particular on when they, the item I have in mind is the Sebastopol lab writing a letter to the Sebastopol City Council about an art project. And therefore, in a certain sense, representing the library in general. I think this is just a topic that hasn't been talked about before, and I think we need to kind of look into it and see how that, if a policy should be developed on that topic.
I think we probably need a large conversation about labs, and we keep talking about it. I think we'll have more conversation about that. And I know you're interested in that, Barbara. I haven't specifically created a policies committee just because I'm waiting for those last 2 commissioners. I don't think it's fair to assign people who have already been doing work to a committee like that and then not have new commissioners have any responsibilities at all. So we'll try to address that as quickly as we can. Anybody else? Items? Comments? I'm not seeing any. Well, hearing none, then thank you all for your time, and our next meeting is going to be in December.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Safe travels.
Thank you.
Night, everybody.
Night.
Barbara, you need to
Thanks,
go to
everybody.
Ireland more often so we can have short meetings.
Yes.
Night.
That would be
Safe
Deborah.
travels. Yeah, safe travels home, Deborah.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Sarah, this isn't normal, Sarah.
That's right.
This is two
We keep
two
telling
meetings
you
in a
that.
row
Two
that
in a
were
row.
short.
That's right.
Maybe it's Sarah's presence.
I was,
that-
it could be Sarah. It could be.
Yeah.
Happy to help
Bye-bye.
out. Good night.
Hope you're feeling
Good night.
better. Good
Good
night.
night, everyone.
Get better, Sarah.